All right, guys, so let's talk about the YPO, the Young Presidents Organization, a little bit more and get you guys more familiar with who they are and what's going on and how I know them and how long I've known them. I'm 43 years old right now. I've known of the YPO and about the YPO since I was in my 20s, and I'll just kind of get right into it. So the YPO is Young Presidents Organization. It's a group of the wealthiest CEOs across the world. I think there's around 30,000 members now. And what it is, for one, the WEF, Klaus Schwab, and King Charles, they're talking about, getting in the private sector and getting everybody on board, all these CEOs and these private corporations and stuff. Most of these guys are going to be the YPO members. They just had a meeting in Davos, Switzerland, same place WEF has. They've got their little pyramid as their logo. And let's just get right into this, though. So the first run-in I had with them was when I was in my early 20s. I was best friends with one of them's son. The guy owned Red Man here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which Goldman and Sachs ended up buying his company, and they ended up buying the other world's largest oil and pipe distributor company, McJunkin, and merged the two together. So we knew all about Goldman and Sachs. I watched a lot of Goldman and Sachs executives move right up into government seats when I was, throughout my time. But anyway, so I invented this boot right here that turns into a rehab device. And the YPO, there's several members in Oklahoma. And so I invented this, and my buddy's dad was in the YPO, had a lot of money, of course. And we were trying to get him to invest in that the whole time I was in the very beginning of inventing that. So towards the end, when it got almost ready to hit the market and everything, his dad was interested. So we go to a meeting, and he brings another YPO member named Peter Boylan, the second or third, I don't know which one he is, but Peter Boylan was a president of TV Guide here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So anyway, we go to the meeting, we meet at a restaurant. My buddy's sitting to the left of me, Peter Boylan's sitting across from me, my buddy's dad's sitting over there. Now, this is one of my best friends, Dustin, and I still like the dude. But anyway, I've been to their house, to their lake house all the time, wakeboarding with him, doing all kinds of stuff with him. So I thought I was pretty close to him. But anyway, his dad's always had a great reputation, always, nothing. So anyway, old Peter Boylan starts talking, and he said, so what's your story on this invention? Tell me about it. I tell him about it. I'm going to try to talk fast so we can get through this. I tell him about it. And then he's like, well, so how good of friends are you guys, Dustin? And he looks at my buddy, Dustin, and he says, how good of friends are you guys? And my buddy's like, well, we're real good friends. And then I was like, yeah, we're real good friends, And he's like, all right. And then he talks a little bit more, and then he asks my buddy again, how good of friends are you guys, Dustin? And he says, oh, we're real good friends. And so then the guy looks at me, and he's like, well, in that case, we're going to treat this a little bit different. But let me tell you how we usually handle things like this. And he says, well, we like your product. Okay, we'll just buy it from you. He said, in a normal situation, we just buy it from you. He said, and if you don't want to sell it for what we want to give, we'll just go around your patent. And he said, and if we can't go around your patent, he's like, we'll figure something out. And he kind of looked right at me, and I was like, what the heck? But he's like, but in this situation, since you're best friends with his son, then we'll go ahead and, do this a different way. So we start talking, blah, blah, blah. Everything goes good in that meeting. We go to do a second meeting where we're going to sign contracts and give these guys 40% of this boot over here. And they were going to take it to their buddy that owns Cardinal Health, one of the largest medical distributors in the world, and just in the YPO group. And that was that. So I was a little upset that they were trying to get 40% out of me, but my buddy's dad would hardly ever talk. He's not the bulldog. He always has the good reputation. He'd bring guys like this Peter Boylan dude and let them do all the talking and look bad. So anyway, he had another guy in his that worked for him that would do that as well to me. But anyway, we go to sign contracts. Well, I looked this Peter Boylan dude up, and this Peter Boylan dude had been sued many times for fraud. So when we get there to the meeting, we start in the meeting, and I was like, hey, before we sign these contracts, there were several people in this conference room, some lawyers, some other people that own medical companies, and then my buddy's dad, Craig Ketchum, sitting across from me. So we sit down, and I was like, hey, before we start signing these contracts, I'd like to ask a few questions. And so his dad said, oh, okay, all right. So I said, Craig, let me ask you a question. I said, you've always had a great reputation. I've always thought really highly of you. But I said, what are you doing hanging out with that dude you brought to the meeting the other day that's going around committing fraud? And he goes, well, he's never been convicted, and got all, defensive. He's like, well, he's never been convicted. And I was like, no, that's because y'all got a lot of this. And on his last lawsuit, he spent $19 million, over $19 million, and had 6 or 7 lawyers on it. And I said he nor admitted or denied to the claims. I'm sure he ran the people out of money. So anyway, he gets all upset, and he stands up and he throws the contract on the table all, kind of aggressively. And kind of upset me. But anyway, throws the contract on the table real aggressively and says, well, you guys just do what you want with your boot. And dude, boy, I jumped up on that table and I told that dude to sit down. Craig Ketchum told him to sit down, and I ran around that table in front of everybody, large everybody, and I just lost it, man. I'm tired of these rich guys screwing everybody over. So anyway, I run around to his table and I lean over top of him and I said, one of these days you're gonna screw somebody over and this money ain't gonna get you out of it. And so anyway, that was my first run-in with them. Me and Dustin aren't friends anymore. Sadly, the good dude's a great dude. We did a lot of research into the YPO and all what they were up to. But anyway, so second run-in, I get into a business with another guy that's in the YPO, and he offers me a sweet deal after working a year, blah, blah, blah. Things didn't go right. I can't really talk about it because the dude paid me to shut the heck up because he ran me out of money working my butt off and paid me to shut up. So I can't really talk about that guy, but that was my second run-in. And that guy just tried to hire somebody I know a while back to break some people's legs for him. That's how the YPO operates. But every one of them are some disgusting pieces of human stuff that I have seen so far and that I've dealt with so far. Now, I've been trying to get one of the other ones to start fighting corruption with me, and he does not want to have that conversation. He even told me that Governor Stitt likes to steer away from dealing with corruption and we're focused on other things. And so I was like, well, that's weird. So anyway, I've learned a lot about these YPO members. And now what I've learned is, like I said, the Rothschilds, Evelyn Rothschild's wife sits on the board for the YPO. So they're connected to the Rothschilds, they're connected to the banking system. And now when you hear King Charles up there talking about how they're penetrating the private sector and getting them on board with what they're trying to do, and they're gonna take almost like a warlike stance on this and do what they gotta do to get that New World Order BS, the Great Reset done, that's who they're talking about right there. Governor Kevin Stitt was one, and he's got at least three members of him in his cabinet. And then he's got another lady, Poland, that he moved out here from California that took over our innovation in healthcare and all this other crap. And we need to get back to organic food and farming and get back to what's natural and right. And Stitt up there spending millions on fixing his house or building his little mansion and doing all that. And we got atrazine in our water supply and all this other crap. I mean, it's time to hold these boys accountable, and that's all there is to it. But these YPO members are the problem, not Republicans and Democrats. Stop bickering back and forth and stop voting and stop playing their game right now, and let's do our own thing. And we got some traction over at the 100K Friends now. That's why I'm blasting all these dudes out. But just a little bit of traction, but no matter what, I'm getting enough people on board that are knowing what I'm talking about, that are watching these guys, and that are knowing who these guys are, that if something happens to me, hopefully they redeem it. Hopefully they watch you guys like a hawk, and hopefully when poo goes down, you guys are going to go down. All you guys that are part of this corrupt system, that are part of doing and not doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing and not doing the right thing. So anyway, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about the Young Presidents Organization and let you guys know the scum that I've dealt with personally with these guys. And I talked to a lawyer today, and he said he knows some of them too. And he said he's suing some of them right now. And he said they think they can get away with whatever they want. So guys, we're bringing the lawyers in. We're bringing everybody in because we're going to be watching you guys like a hawk, all you Young Presidents Organization. You know what I want to call you guys. I'm trying to be good on this. But anyway, guys, men, we got to make it popular. We got to get the Bloods, the Crips, the bikers, everybody. Especially those tough-ass dudes, the ones maybe not so tough, but they don't care, and they will stick up for their hood. They will stick up for their gang or whatever it is. They will stick up for them. So now we just need to focus their energy off of the drugs, off of the bullshit, and let them know that they can do some good. They can protect us. They can watch our back, and they can help us clean up this BS corruption that you fools up there are focused on. Instead of focusing on the corruption, you're focusing on the money, and that's the problem. And I asked Sean Copeland today about it. And I respect his answer, and I'm glad he answered me. So that's all I got to say about that. But Sean Copeland's in the YPO too. He owns Regent Bank here in Tulsa. He's a great guy from the outside. I really like him, but he hangs out and he does business with these poos. So that's the problem I have with him. But anyway, Sean, thank you for answering me. But you guys have to get to the drawing board and start asking each other what you're going to do about this mess that I hope that I get to put you guys in, because it's time to clean it up and it's time to focus on the corruption and stop buying banks. The governor just bought a bank. Come on.